The observation deck smelled like burning insulation and my own failure. I pressed my secondary manipulator against the glass, watching the debris field spin past, and tried to count how many rules of engagement had just been violated. Lost count at 7. My superior eye stalk twitched. Does that, when I'm stressed, has since the academy, drives my clutch mates insane. Observer Kale. Commander Threx's voice through the comm. Flat, disappointed. The tone that means your career just developed a leak. Explain why a human strike team is currently inside of Rex Dreadnought that we classified as too fortified to approach. I could have told him the truth, that I'd watched Captain Ven's team study the Dreadnought for 6 hours, that I'd logged their scanning patterns, that every tactical assessment I'd run said they were planning something catastrophically stupid, and that I'd filed the report but marked it low priority because humans always plan something catastrophically stupid, and 90% of the time it never got past the planning stage. Could have told him that. Eye stalk twitched again. They didn't file a movement authorization. Observer, sir, the Rex Dreadnought has been our primary strategic obstacle for 16 days. It's cost us 42 ships. Its shield geometry makes it effectively invulnerable to our weapons. And you're telling me you noticed a human team taking an interest in it, and you didn't think to escalate? The debris field outside tumbled, pretty in a way, shattered hull plating catching the light from Kepler 442's star. Some of it was ours. Most of it was theirs. I escalated it, sir. I filed the... You marked it low priority.
Stock twitched again.
My speaking stalk contracted. Humans have a 37% mission abort rate, sir. I assumed... In the silence, I could hear the environmental systems cycling. The observation deck was basically a glorified closet with a view, stuck on the outer ring of the harmonious accord, and the life support had been glitching for a week, made this faint clicking sound. Click, click. Like a countdown, I couldn't stop. Sir, I tried. In my defense, their plan made no mathematical sense. The Dreadnought's shield array has overlapping coverage. There's no gap large enough for an assault craft. The only vulnerable point is the primary reactor intake, and that's inside the shield perimeter. Yes, I read your file. Threx's voice went quiet. The dangerous quiet. What I didn't read in your file, Observer, is the part where they got inside anyway. I watched the debris. Wanted to close my eyes, but Kareen physiology doesn't work that way. We see what we see. They used a debris cluster, sir. Killed their engines and hid their heat signature inside a destroyed freighter section. Let the Dreadnought's tractor beams pull them in with the salvage sweep.
In silence, I could hear the
That's
environmental systems
insane. Yes, sir. The margin for error on that maneuver is 0, sir. I calculated it. Twice. More silence. Click, click. Observer Kyle.
And the life
Threx's
support
voice
had been
shifted.
glitching for a week.
Less anger. More something else. Confusion, maybe. Or fear dressed up as curiosity. How long have you been watching this particular human unit? I checked my logs. Didn't need to. Knew the answer. 3 months, 2 weeks, or 4 days. And in that time, how many missions have you observed them undertake? 47, sir. How many did your projections say they'd survive? My eye stalk stopped twitching. 12, sir. The comm went quiet. Outside, the debris field kept spinning. Beautiful and terrible and completely indifferent to what it meant. Observer Kyle, Threx said, and his voice had gone very soft. I want you to transfer all your logs on this unit to my personal archive. Every observation, every tactical assessment, every time you thought they were going to die, and they didn't. Sir, I don't... That's an order, Observer. And Kale? Sir, watch them. Whatever they're doing in that Dreadnought, I want real-time updates. Because if they succeed, the Admiralty is going to want to know how. And if they fail... He didn't finish. Didn't need to. If they failed, I'd need to explain why I'd let them try in the first place. The thing about humans in combat is they don't communicate like civilized species. Civilized species use clear, structured tactical networks. Call signs. hierarchical information flow. You can listen to a Korean strike team and know exactly who's doing what, when, and why. Humans? Humans sound like they're having 6 different conversations at once, half of them contradicting the other half, and none of them making any damn sense.
It's time.
I pulled up the audio feed from the strike team.
3 months, 2
Got
weeks,
eyes on
4
the reactor
days.
coolant
In
junction.
that time.
Looks like Christmas threw up in here. Then,
How many
we've got
missions have you
movement,
observed them
corridor
undertake?
7-3,
47.
multiple contacts. Copy, Chen. How's our timer
How
looking?
many did your projections?
Timer's fine if you don't count the part
My
where
eyes
we're
don't
inside a
stop twitching.
dreadnought and maybe shouldn't be on a timer. Harper, you hear something? Yeah, my heart trying to escape through my ribcage.
Outside, the debris
You want me to
field
check
kept
on that?
spinning.
I isolated Captain Ven's voice marker, watched her biosigns on the split screen. Heart rate elevated, but steady. Respiration controlled,
Observer KL.
moving through the dreadnought's
His voice had
maintenance
gone
tunnels
very soft.
like she'd memorized the layout.
I want
She
you
probably
to transfer
had.
all your logs
Humans
on
did
this
that.
unit to
Memorized
my
things
personal
that should have
archive.
required a neural interface.
Every
Just
time you thought they were
looked
going
at
to die
schematics
they
and
didn't.
remembered them.
Sir, I don't.
That's
All
an
right,
order.
listen up.
Whatever they're
Ven's
doing in
voice
that
cut through the chatter.
I want real-time
Chen,
updates.
Parker, you're on the secondary coolant valve. I need
if
it
they
sealed in
succeed,
90 seconds.
the Admiralty is
Harper,
going to want to
Rodriguez,
know how.
you're with me on the reactor interface. Mitch, we get one shot at this, so let's not fuck it up with improvisation. Ma'am, this entire operation is improvisation. Harper. Yes, ma'am. The team split. I watched their
species
thermal
use clear,
signatures
structured,
diverge through the
tactical
dreadnought's
networks.
guts and tried to reconcile what I was
You
seeing
can listen
with
to
what
a
I knew
Korean
about
strike
human
team,
military
know
doctrine.
Exactly who's doing what,
Doctrine said
when,
humans
why.
preferred overwhelming force, numerical superiority, support assets. They were a species that won wars by showing up with more soldiers, more ships, more bullets than the other side had molecules. But
pulled up the
sometimes,
audio
not
feed
often,
from the
but
strike
sometimes, they did this instead. Sent 5 people
Got
into
eyes
a
on the reactor
dreadnought
coolant
with
junction.
nothing but cutting
Looks like
tools and
Christmas
bad
threw up in
attitudes.
here.
My analysis algorithm flagged something.
All ones,
Probability matrix shifting.
Hostiles in
I pulled up the
B.
tactical display and felt my speaking stalk go dry. Divrex security forces converging on the maintenance sector. 47 contacts, heavy combat frames. The humans had maybe 3 minutes before they were surrounded. Observer to accord actual.
My heart
My
trying to
voice came
escape
out
through
too
my
high.
ribcage.
We have a situation. Threx's voice,
You want me
immediate.
to check on that?
Report. Vrex security has detected the intrusion. Multiple
Watched your
squads
biosigns
converging
on
on
the
the
screen.
human position. Current projections show... I know what they show, Observer.
Stay with me.
I'm
Keep
watching
fighting.
the same
Vitals are weak.
feed.
We need to move.
I should have shut up.
I know.
Should have
Hold on.
just watched and logged and let the professionals handle it. Sir, we could scramble a support wing, create a diversion, pull some of the Vrex forces away from... Negative. We're
Just
not
looked at
compromising
schematics and
fleet
remembered
positioning
them.
for a human suicide run. But sir... Observer Kale. Threx's voice went sharp. You will watch. You will log. You will not advocate for unauthorized tactical deviations. Are we clear? My eye stalk twitched so hard I thought it might tear.
It's sealed.
Clear, sir.
90 seconds.
The
Copy
comm
that.
cut. I watched the thermal signatures converge. The first time I saw a human refuse to die, it was during the Hadrian Station siege.
Get one shot at this,
Small
so let's
engagement,
not fuck it up
barely
with the
worth logging.
conversation.
Ma'am.
Vrex boarding party punched through a civilian station's
This
docking
entire
ring,
operation is
standard
improvisation.
terror tactic,
Yes, ma'am.
supposed to make
The
the
team
confluence sue for peace. Human security team responded.
This won't be forgotten.
12 humans against 47 Vrex shock troops in powered armor.
Tried to reconcile
I'd watched
what I
the
was
whole
seeing
thing from the Accord,
with what I knew
running
about
tactical
human
analysis,
military doctrine.
calculating casualty projections. Given the humans 7 minutes before total loss, they lasted 40. Not because they were better armed, not because they had superior positioning. They lasted 40 minutes because they refused to accept that they'd lost. Watched one human, medical specialist, totally unarmored,
Sent 5
use a
people
Vrex
into a
trooper's
dreadnought
own
with
grenade
nothing but
against
cutting
him
tools
by
and
pulling it
bad
free
attitudes.
and throwing it back in the
My
2-second
analysis
window
algorithm
before
flagged something.
detonation. Watched her drag a wounded squadmate behind cover while taking
pulled
fire
up the
from 3
tactical
directions. Watched her
felt my
jury
speaking
rig a
stock
breach
go
seal
dry.
using a dead Vrex's armor plating and a cutting torch. She died 23 minutes into the engagement. Took 11 Vrex with her. I'd filed a report. Marked it anomalous behavior. Because that's what you do when the data doesn't match the model. You call it anomalous. You don't call it what it is.
We have a
Harper,
situation.
I need that access port open now. Working on it, ma'am? But the Vrex like their security protocols. Harper, 30 seconds. I watched the Vrex forces close in. 20 meters, 15. Captain Ven's biosigns spiked. Not panic,
Current projections
something
show
else.
I know what they show,
Focus.
Observer.
Chen, Parker, status. Coolant valves sealed, ma'am,
watching
but
the same
we've got
feed.
company. Lots
I
of
should've
company.
Shut up.
Fall back to Junction 4. Set charges on your way.
Should've Just watched
Ma'am,
and logged
our
and
demolition
let the
supplies
professionals
are-
handle it.
Then use theirs. Silence on the comm.
Sir, we can scramble
Then
a
Chen's
support
voice,
wing.
and I swear I could hear the smile in it. Copy that, ma'am. I pulled up Chen's helmet feed just in time to watch him pry a Vrex plasma mine off a wall mounting, reprogram it in 8 seconds flat,
Observer KO.
and stick it to a support beam. Harper. Ven's voice,
Vrex voice
measured,
went sharp.
calm. How's that door coming? 5 seconds. 4, 3.
Readings confirm it. The source
The
is
Vrex
there.
rounded the
We must
corner.
proceed now
My
before it
algorithm
dissipates.
screamed.
Initiate the sequence.
Probability of survival dropping.
Clear?
40%,
Eye stalk
20,
twitched so hard I thought
5,
it might tear.
2, 1. We're in.
Clear, sir.
The access port blew open. Ven's team poured through. The Vrex followed.
Watched the thermal
Chen
signatures
triggered the
converge.
charges. The corridor collapsed. I'd been watching humans for 3
The
months,
first time I
and I
saw a
still didn't
human
understand
refuse
their
to die,
relationship with
it was
acceptable
during the
losses.
Hadrian Station
Korean
siege.
military philosophy is elegant, simple. You calculate the value of the objective, weigh it against the projected casualties, and make a rational decision. We don't trade lives for possibilities. Humans
Human security team
Humans bet
responded.
everything on a 20% chance and called it a plan. Observer Kale.
Hold still.
I jumped,
Rerouting the power.
literally
Status
jumped.
critical, hurry.
My
Almost
hover
there.
pad
Connecting
dipped 6
auxiliary.
inches before
Try
the
now.
gyros
I'd
compensated.
watched the whole thing from the
Rex's
Accord,
voice.
running
Private
tactical
channel.
analysis.
So, sir, tell me they didn't just collapse a primary support corridor inside an active dreadnought. I checked the structural analysis.
Not because they
Felt
were better
something
armed.
cold settle in my core. They did, sir. And the Vrex response? Chaotic.
Not because they
They're
had
evacuating
superior
that sector.
positioning.
Looks like they're worried about a cascade failure.
They lasted 40
Good.
minutes because they refused
blinked.
to accept that they'd
All
lost.
3 eyes. Sir? The Vrex are panicking, observer, which means they're not thinking tactically, which means an alarm cut him
Totally
off.
unarmored.
High
Use
priority.
of Rex Trooper's own grenade
Fleet-wide.
against him by
All
pulling
ships.
it free
This is
and
a
throwing
Accord
it.
actual. We have a developing
Back in the
situation.
2-second window
Vrex
before
Dreadnought is
detonation.
showing signs of critical reactor instability.
Watched her drag a
pulled up
wounded
the scans.
squad mate behind cover
The
while
Dreadnought's
taking
power
fire from
signature
3
was
directions.
spiking. Not gradually.
Watched her jury rig
Not
a
like a
breach
weapons
seal
charge.
using a dead
Like
Vrex
something
armor
vital
plating
had broken.
and a cutting torch.
Observer,
Perimeter
Threx's
breach confirmed.
voice,
Hostiles
very quiet.
inbound. Deploying
What did they do?
countermeasures. Shields pushing fire
I
on my
traced
mark.
the power fluctuations back.
11 Vrex.
Followed the cascade through the Dreadnought systems. Started at the reactor. Moved to the
I
coolant
followed
system.
forward.
Hit the sealed valve. Sir, my speaking stalk barely worked.
Marked it anomalous.
I think they
behavior,
just triggered a reactor
because that's what you
meltdown.
do when the data doesn't
The
match
evacuation started 60 seconds
model. Call it
later.
anomalous.
I watched the Vrex forces pour out of the Dreadnought like insects fleeing a collapsing nest. Watched their support ships swarm in, trying to extract as many troops as possible.
Harper, I need that
Watched
access
Captain
port
Ven's
open now.
team move deeper
Working
into
on
the
it,
ship.
ma'am. Okay, Aminge,
Observer
132
to
max
human
15.
strike team, you need to extract, repeat, you need to, negative Accord. Ven's voice, steady, almost cheerful. We're not done yet. Captain, the reactor is going to blow
Chen,
in about
Parker
8 minutes.
status.
Yeah.
Coolant valve
We're
sealed,
aware.
ma'am, but we've got company.
Then why? Because we didn't come here to blow up a dreadnought, observer. We came here to steal one. My algorithm froze. All of them. Every predictive model, every tactical assessment, every probability matrix. Frozen.
Our demolition supplies
You're-
are. Then use
You can't be
theirs.
serious.
Silence on the
Harper,
comm.
how's that override looking?
Then Chen's voice.
Ma'am, I'm in
and
the
I swear I
navigation
could hear
system, but the
smile.
AI is throwing up some really hostile firewalls. Burn through them.
Copy that, ma'am.
Rodriguez,
I pulled up
I
Chen's
need
helmet
reactor
features. Time to watch
stabilization
the fire Vrex
protocols.
plasma.
The Vrex ones, not ours. On it. I watched them work. Watched them inside a melting down dreadnought,
Harper.
calmly executing a plan that shouldn't exist. Sir, I switched
that
to
door
Threx's
coming?
channel.
5
Sir,
seconds.
they're trying to save the reactor. That's impossible. They're doing it anyway.
To the source.
The power fluctuations
stronger.
started to stabilize. Not much, not enough,
Probability of survival.
but stabilizing. Observer. Threx's voice had gone strange. Get me a direct line to Captain Ven. Sir? Now, Observer. I
Ven's
opened the
team
channel.
poured through.
Captain Ven, this is Commander Threx, Harmonious Accord. What are your intentions?
Chen triggered the charges.
Static. Then, Commander, nice to finally talk to you. Our intentions are to
Calibration's
commandeer
complete.
this
Target
vessel
locked.
and bring it
Copy
back
that.
to
Powered
confluence
full.
lines,
Perimeter secure.
assuming we
Fire
don't
weapon.
die in the next 6
I
minutes.
still didn't understand
Captain,
the relationship
that ship is
with
worth more than the
acceptable
last 3 months of this campaign combined. If you can genuinely deliver it, then you'll owe us a favor. Yeah, we're counting on that. What do you need? The question hung there. Simple, direct. I'd never heard Threx ask a human what they needed before. We need every ship you've got to stop shooting at this dreadnought in about 4 minutes. We need a clear corridor to jump coordinates Theta 7. And we need someone to explain to the Vrex that they're about to lose their flagship to 5 humans and a really bad day. Threx was quiet for exactly 2 seconds. You'll have it, Captain. Don't die.
Command, sector
Wasn't
2 clear.
planning on it,
Moving to
sir.
3. Copy that,
The
lead.
comm
On your
cut.
6.
I
Eyes
looked
sharp,
at the
anomalies
tactical
ahead.
display. At the dreadnought, still flickering with power fluctuations. At the Vrex fleet, scrambling to reorganize. At the 5 human life signs buried in the heart of a ship that should have killed them a dozen times over. My eye stalk stopped twitching. Started something else. Shaking. They got the reactor stable with 90 seconds to spare. I watched the dreadnought's engines flare. Watched
They're
it break from the
evacuating that
Vrex
sector.
formation. Sluggish and wounded, but moving. Watched the Vrex fleet realize what was happening. Are all ships weapons free? Target the dreadnought? Negative. Threx's voice cutting across every channel. All confluence ships form defensive screen around bearing
Means they're not
273.
thinking tactically.
Nothing gets through. Sir, that's a Vrex. That's a captured Vrex dreadnought with a human prize crew. And if any ship in this fleet fires on it, I will personally see that commander court-martialed. Are we clear? Silence. Then the confluence fleet moved. 47 ships, forming a wall between the stolen dreadnought
The
and the
dreadnought's
furious
power
Vrex
signature
armada.
was spiking.
I pulled up Ven's biosigns. Heart rate still elevated, breathing steady. Her voice came through, calm and controlled. Harper, jump calculations locked in. Yes, ma'am, but I gotta say, stealing a dreadnought was not on my bingo card for today. Add it for tomorrow. Chen, engineering status? Reactors holding.
What did they
Barely.
do?
We're gonna
I
need a
traced
full
the power
overhaul when we get
fluctuations
home.
back.
Rodriguez, weapons?
Followed the
Online.
cascade through the
Shields at
dreadnought
60%. We're not pretty, but we're functional. Parker, I'm just here for moral support, ma'am. Ven laughed. Actually laughed. All right, people,
Move
let's
to the
take this
coolant
bird
system.
home. The dreadnought jumped. I filed my report at 0300 station time. Couldn't sleep. Kareen don't really sleep the way humans do, but we have a rest cycle, and mine was completely shot. Kept seeing the numbers, the probability
I think they just
matrices,
triggered a reactor
the
meltdown.
47 times I'd projected their deaths, the 47 times I'd been wrong. My quarters were small. Observation staff doesn't rate much space, but I had a window, and through it I could see the captured dreadnought surrounded by repair crews and integration
Watch their
specialists.
support ships swarm in,
Worth more
trying
than
to
3
extract
months
as
of
many
war.
troops as possible.
Taken by 5 humans with cutting
Watch
tools
Captain Ven's
and a
team
plan
move
that
deeper
made
into
no
the ship.
mathematical sense. My terminal chimed. Incoming message,
Observer to human strike
private
team.
channel.
You need to extract.
Commander
Repeat, you need
Threx.
to-
Observer Kyle. Report to my office at 0700. We need to discuss your new assignment. I stared at the message.
We're aware.
New
Then
assignment.
why?
Not
Because we didn't come
reassignment.
here to blow up a
Not
dreadnought,
disciplinary
Observer.
review. New.
We came here
Outside,
to steal one.
the dreadnought
My
hung in
algorithm froze.
space. And somewhere inside it, Captain Ven
Every
and her
predictive
team
model,
were probably
every tactical
sleeping,
assessment,
or
every
laughing,
probability matrix.
or planning the next impossible thing. I closed my
can't
eyes,
be serious.
metaphorically,
Harper,
since I
how's
can't
that
actually
override
do
look?
that,
Ma'am,
and tried to understand what
I'm in the
I'd just
navigation
witnessed.
system, but the AI is
A
throwing up some
species
really
that looked at
hostile
0%
firewalls.
survival
Burn it.
odds and called it acceptable.
Rodriguez, I
A
need reactor
species that
stabilization
weaponized
protocols on
desperation
Rex
so
ones.
completely they'd turned it into doctrine. A
Objective
species
sighted.
that
Move on
didn't
my
win
mark. Copy
because
that.
they were
Fan out,
stronger
advance.
or
Yes, sir.
smarter or better armed. They
Target is
won
200 meters
because they
ahead.
refused
Move
to
out.
accept
Roger that.
that
On
they'd
your lead.
lost. And somewhere in the 3 months I'd been watching them, I'd stopped seeing it as insanity, started seeing it as something else. My
Anomaly
eye stalk
confirmed.
twitched.
Stronger ahead.
I let it.
Move up. Stay sharp.
Threx's office smelled like recirculated air and old decisions.
Fluctuations started to stabilize.
I hovered in the doorway, manipulators folded in what I hoped looked like professional composure, watching the commander stare at something on his display that I couldn't see. He didn't look up. Observer Kyle. Close the door. I did. The seal
Captain
hissed.
Ben, this is Commander
The
Threx
room
of
got
Harmonious
smaller.
Accord. Copy,
Sir,
Threx. I'm seeing
regarding my report on the Dreadnought
Target zone
incident,
is active.
your
Flying
report
route.
was
Uploading
adequate.
New coordinates now. Stand
Still
by.
not looking at me.
Confirmed. No big extraction
Your
point.
predictions were
Threat levels
garbage.
right. Lock onto the
My
signal.
eye stalk did the thing.
Calibrating now. Boosters.
Couldn't stop
Had
it.
acquired. Standing
Sir,
by for orders.
Sit,
Our intentions.
hover.
A command
Whatever it is your species
bring it back to
does,
confluence lines.
I settled onto the visitor pad. It
Assuming
wobbled.
we don't die down
Everything in
next
Threx's
6
office was
minutes.
slightly broken.
Captain.
He never fixed anything. Said
That
it kept
ship
him
is worth
honest.
More than the last 3
Observer.
months of this
He finally
campaign
looked up.
combined.
How many human operations have you
you
logged since you took this
genuinely
posting?
Then you'll
247, sir. How many went according to your
The enemy
projections?
fleet is approaching.
The wobble got
We must
worse.
act now.
18,
Prepare all
sir.
defenses.
18. He
Hostiles
tapped his
detected.
display.
Locking on.
Made a note I
Engage target
couldn't
at
read.
now. Fire.
That's a 7% accuracy
We
rate.
need every ship you've
Do you
got
know what
to
we do
stop
with
shooting at
analysts
this
who
dreadnought
maintain
in
a
about
7%
4 minutes.
accuracy rate? Court-martial them, sir. Promote them. I blinked. All 3 eyes. Sequential.
Humans
Sir,
in a really bad day.
You're being
Threx
reassigned
was
observer,
quiet for exactly
effective
2
immediately.
seconds.
You're now the primary tactical liaison to Captain Ven's unit. You will embed with them and observe their operational planning and provide real-time analysis to Fleet Command. The wobble turned into a shake.
I looked at the
Sir,
tactical display.
I don't... That's a field posting. I'm an observer. I observe from observation
Status report.
posts.
Enemy
That's
fleet is
literally
closing.
in the
Wing
job
inference
title.
locked. They're flanking.
And
Divert
now
power.
you'll observe
Fire
from
at will.
significantly closer range. He slid a data chip across his desk. Your briefing materials, equipment requisitions, and a message from Captain Ven. I picked up the chip, felt it
Buried
warm against
in
my
the heart of a
manipulator.
ship that
She
should have
knows
killed
about
them
this?
a dozen times
She requested
over.
you specifically. The room tilted. Might have been the visitor pad. Might have been my entire understanding of
We got the
reality
reactor
coming loose.
stable with 90
Why would she?
seconds to spare.
Because according to her after-action report, you were the only Confluence officer who bothered to watch what they were doing. The only one who tried to warn us they were planning something.
Watched it break from the
The only one who
formation.
gave a damn whether
Sluggish
they
and
lived or
wounded but
died.
moving.
He stood, walked to the
Rex
window,
fleet realized what was
looked out at the
happening.
Dreadnought, still surrounded by scaffolding and repair
All
drones.
ships, weapons free.
You think I
Target
don't
the
know what you
Dreadnought.
did, Kyle?
Negative.
You opened a direct channel during a combat
Welcome to the
operation.
future. I've been waiting
Advocated
for
for
you.
tactical
this
support.
This tactical chief
Tried to get me to commit resources to a human suicide run.
All
Sir,
Confluence ships formed
you broke
defensive screen
protocol,
around bearing 273.
compromised your objectivity, let personal investment
gets through.
override analytical distance. He turned, looked at me with all 4 eyes.
That's a Vrex.
You acted like you thought
That's
they
a
mattered.
captured Vrex
They
dreadnought
do matter,
with a
sir.
Human prize
The
crew.
words came out before I could stop them. Threx smiled. Kareen don't smile like humans, but it's close enough.
Are we
That's why
clear?
you're getting the assignment,
Silence.
observer. Because you already failed the first test. He sat back
Then
down.
the Confluence fleet moved.
Now let's see if you can fail the second one too. The transport
47
to the
ships,
human carrier
forming a
Defiant
wall between
took
the stolen
6
Dreadnought
hours.
And the furious
I spent
Rex
5 of them reading Captain Ven's service
Pulled up
record.
Ven's bioscience.
Born on Earth. Actual Earth. The planet humans still thought of as home
Heart
even
rate
though
still
most of them had
elevated.
never seen it. Enlisted at 19. Made captain at 31,
voice came through,
which according to the
calm
file
and
notes was
controlled.
unusually fast for human military advancement. Commendations.
47,
17 of them.
analyzing spread. Containment
3
protocols
for
initiated.
valor.
Monitor for escalation.
2 for creative tactical solutions. 1 for actions above and beyond the call of duty in the face of overwhelming odds. That one didn't specify what the actions were. Disciplinary notes, 12 of
Gonna
them.
need a full overhaul when we get
Unauthorized
home.
tactical deviation.
Rodriguez weapons.
Failure to follow
Online.
established doctrine. Willful disregard for chain of command recommendations. The pattern was obvious. Do something impossible. Get commended. Get disciplined. Repeat. Humans called it a career. I called it a nervous breakdown with medals. The last hour I spent trying to figure out what to say when I met her
Report at 0300
came up
station
blank. The Defiant looked like someone had taken a Confluence carrier design and beaten it with a wrench until it did what they wanted. Angular where it should have been smooth. Armored where it should have been elegant. covered in point defense turrets and sensor
readings are
arrays and
critical.
things
We must
I
act
couldn't
now.
identify
Prepare
that
the
probably
systems. Time
violated
is against
3
us.
different fleet regulations. The docking bay smelled like fuel and hot metal and something organic I couldn't place. Coffee. The file said humans drank coffee. The file didn't say it smelled like burned regret.
My quarters were
Observer
small.
Kyle? I turned. Captain Sarah Venn looked exactly like her file photo and nothing like her file photo. Same face, same regulation short
Surrounded by
hair,
repair crews
same
and
uniform.
integration specialists.
But the photo didn't capture the way she moved. Didn't capture the
more than 3
awareness in her
months of
eyes,
war.
the constant micro-assessments, the sense that she was running tactical calculations
Fortress is just
on
ahead.
everything,
Stay
including
sharp.
me.
Copy that. Weapons hot.
Captain Venn.
Move out.
I tried for professional.
Report to my
Landed
office at
somewhere near
0700.
terrified. Permission to come aboard. Granted. She gestured.
Final log update
Walk with
complete.
me.
System status is
We've got a
nominal.
briefing in
All files
20
secured.
minutes,
Proceeding
and I need to
phase
show
2.
you where we keep the coffee that won't kill you. I don't drink. You will. We walked. The
Outside,
Defiant was smaller than the
Dreadnought hung in
Harmonious
space,
Accord.
and
Tighter.
somewhere inside it,
Everything close and efficient and designed for humans, which meant I had to adjust my hoverpad's clearance 3 times in the first corridor. Threx says you've been
planned
watching
the
my
next
unit for 3
impossible
months.
thing?
Not a question. Statement. Yes, ma'am. That Dreadnought run. You tried to get him to send support. I did, ma'am. Why? We turned a
since I can't
corner,
actually do that.
past a group of human
Try to
crew members who
understand what I
nodded at
just
Venn
witnessed.
and stared at me with undisguised curiosity.
Armor awakens with
Because I thought you were going to die, ma'am. We almost did.
A
She
species
stopped
that
at a door,
weaponized desperation
pressed
so
her palm
completely
to the
they turned
lock.
it into doctrine.
It hissed open. Come on.
A species
The room
that didn't
was
win
small,
because they were
barely
stronger
qualified
or
as an
smarter
office.
or better armed.
Desk covered in tactical displays and what looked like actual paper reports. Humans still used paper. Said it helped them think. Venn poured something dark and steaming from a thermal container into 2 cups. Handed me one.
Threx's
Try
office
it.
smelled
Don't
like
think.
recirculated
Just
air
try.
of decisions.
I took the cup. Took a drink. My
I
speaking
hovered in the
stalk
doorway.
seized.
Manipulators
That's
folded in what
terrible.
I hoped looked
Yeah,
like professional
you get used to it.
composure.
She sat on the edge of her desk.
Target in sight.
Drank her
Waiting
own
orders.
cup
Viper
like it
moving,
wasn't
something's coming.
biochemical
Hold
warfare.
fire. Let it get closer.
Kyle. Can I call you Kyle? Yes, ma'am.
Didn't look up.
I'm going to be direct because we don't have time for the polite version. Threx sent you here because he thinks you can translate us. Bridge the gap between human tactical thinking and Confluent strategic
Room got
planning.
Smaller.
Help the fleet understand what we're doing before we do it.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Regarding my
That's my
report,
understanding of the assignment.
Your report was
He's
accurate.
wrong. I nearly dropped the cup. Ma'am, you can't translate us, Kyle. You can't explain us to people who think war is math.
Whatever it is your species
Because
does.
what we do isn't
I
math.
settled onto the
It's not even
visitor pad.
tactics in the way the Confluence understands tactics. She set down her cup, looked at me with those constant calculation eyes. What we do is survive. That's it. That's the whole doctrine. Survive and make the other guy stop before we do. That's not sustainable, ma'am. No, it's not.
Observer.
But we're
He
still
finally
here,
Looked up.
and a lot of other species aren't. She
How many
stood,
human operations
walked to
have
her
you
display,
logged since you took this
pulled up a
posting?
star chart.
200.
You know what the difference is between humans
47,
and the
sir.
Confluence?
How many went according to your
Ma'am,
projections?
there are approximately
The Wobble got
4,000
worse.
documented.
18,
The
sir.
Confluence looks at a
18.
battle and calculates acceptable losses, weighs objectives against casualties,
Made a
makes
note I couldn't
rational
read.
decisions. She tapped the star chart, highlighted a
That's
system.
7%
Humans look at a
accuracy
battle
rate.
and calculate acceptable wins. Why, we ask, what's the minimum victory condition that keeps us alive? And then we do whatever it takes to hit that minimum. That's the same thing, ma'am.
Sir,
It's
promote.
really not.
I
She pulled up another file. Combat footage.
Sir?
I recognized
You're
it.
being reassigned,
Battle of
observer.
Proxima Station.
Understood.
11 months ago.
Now
Catastrophic
the primary
Confluence
tactical
defeat.
liaison to Captain
Watch this.
Ben's unit.
Tell me what you see. The footage played. Vrex fleet. 3 dreadnoughts. Confluence defenders. 2 carriers.
And
8
provide
frigates.
real-time analysis to
Standard
fleet
engagement. The
wobble
Confluence
turned into a
tried to
shake.
hold. Tried to preserve the station. Lost everything. I see a tactical loss, ma'am. The Confluence forces were outnumbered.
Look,
They
the
attempted
readings
to
here are off
defend
the
a
charts.
fixed position against
Force
superior
must be
numbers.
close.
Standard
Let's
outcome.
move. That's
Now
literally in
watch
the job
this.
title.
She
And now
pulled
you'll
up
observe
different
from
footage.
significantly closer
Same
range.
battle. Different angle. Human destroyer. Call sign reckless. Breaking formation. Ignoring retreat orders. ramming the lead Vrex dreadnought at full burn, detonating its reactor on impact, taking the dreadnought and 2 frigates with it. What do you see now, Kyle? I watched the explosion bloom, watched the Vrex formation break, watched the Confluence retreat succeed,
Why would she?
because the Vrex were too busy
Because according
reorganizing
her
to pursue.
after-action report,
I see a waste of a destroyer, ma'am. You see 2,000 Confluence crew members who made it out alive because one human captain decided that losing his ship was
analyzing the data,
an
the signature
acceptable
is
win.
unstable.
Unstable. What's
She
the
turned
risk?
off the display.
Catastrophic.
That's what Threx wants you to understand. That's what you need to explain to the fleet. We don't fight to preserve assets. We fight to preserve people. And sometimes that means burning the assets. The coffee in my cup had gone cold.
Still surrounded by
Ma'am,
scaffolding and repair
Permission to
drones.
speak freely? You've been speaking freely,
think I don't
but
know
sure,
what you did,
that's
KL?
insane. She smiled, full human smile,
Listen closely.
teeth showing,
The situation is dire.
the thing that
We
made
must
other
act
species
now
nervous.
before it's too late.
Yeah,
Follow
it is.
my lead.
Welcome to the
Try
unit,
get
observer.
resources to a
The
human
briefing room
suicide
was
run,
packed.
sir. You
15
broke
humans,
protocol.
1 Kareen, me. I hovered at the back, trying to be invisible, watching Ven's team settle into chairs with the casual
at me
ease
with
of
all
people
4 eyes.
who'd done this 1,000 times. Harper, short, female, covered in technical certifications that shouldn't fit on one uniform, drinking coffee that smelled worse than mine. Chen, taller, male. Demolition
One for
specialist
actions
with a
above
face
and
that
beyond the
suggested
call of
he'd
duty in
been
the face of
personally present for
overwhelming
several
odds.
of his own
That
explosions.
one,
Rodriguez, stocky, female, engineering background. Currently reading something on a tablet
Unauthorized
that made her
tactical
frown.
deviation. Failure
Parker,
to follow established
thin,
doctrine.
male.
Willful
Their
disregard.
sniper rating. Sitting perfectly still in a way that made my threat assessment algorithms scream. And Ven,
humans
at the front,
called it a career.
pulling up tactical displays like she was getting ready to explain something simple. All right,
I
people,
called it a nervous
listen up.
breakdown with
We've got
medals.
new orders from Fleet Command and a new face.
The last hour
Observer
I spent
Kyle,
trying to
say
figure
hello.
out what to say when I
Every
met her.
human head turned. I
The
managed to wave.
Defiant looked like someone
It
had
came out
taken a
awkward.
Confluence carrier
Humans
design
waved
and
differently.
beaten it with a wrench.
Observer Kyle is our
Until
new
it
tactical
did what
liaison.
they wanted.
He's here to watch us, understand us, and explain us to people who think we're crazy.
Angular
I've assured
where it
him
should have been
we're only
smooth.
mostly crazy. Don't make me a liar. Scattered
Armored
laughter.
where it should have been
Harper raised her
elegant.
coffee cup in salute. Noted, ma'am. We'll be on our best behavior. Which for this unit means what
Rerouting
exactly?
power to stabilizers. Hold
Rodriguez
together.
asked.
Thrusters
Means we
online.
try not to
Nah.
steal anything too
I pressed my
expensive.
secondary manipulator against
More
the
laughter.
glass, watching
I
the
felt
debris
myself
field spin
relaxing.
past.
Slightly. Ven pulled up the tactical display. Okay, fun's over. Here's the situation.
What are
The
Lost
display
count at
showed a
7.
planetary system. 3 inhabited worlds, 2 gas giants, standard configuration, except for the Vrex fleet parked in orbit around the primary colony. The Kalos
My
system.
clutchmate's insane.
Population 40 million, mixed confederation species. Vrex took it 6
Observer
weeks ago.
Kale.
They're using it as a
Commander.
forward logistics hub, supply depot, repair facilities, troop staging.
What the hell's that?
How many ships? Chen asked.
Never go, Fetty.
12.
I can't take
2
no.
heavy cruisers, 6
Explain
frigates,
why a human
support
strike
vessels,
team is currently
plus ground
inside a
forces
Rex
estimated
dreadnought that
at
we classify
20,000.
as 2
Silence in the room. The kind of silence that meant everyone was doing math and not liking the answers.
That I'd watched
Ma'am.
Captain Ven's team
Harper's
study
voice,
the dreadnought for
carefully
6
neutral.
hours.
Fleet Command wants us to do what
Readings are
exactly?
spiking. We must act
Raid
now.
the supply
Understood,
depot.
sir. Rerouting power now.
Destroy
Monitor
critical
closely. Report
infrastructure.
any fluctuations.
Make it
Every
expensive for the
tactical
Virex to
assessment
hold
I'd
the
run
system.
said they were planning
With how many
something
ships?
catastrophically stupid.
1? The silence got heavier. Ma'am, Rodriguez said, 1 ship against 12 is suicide.
Catastrophically stupid.
Yeah,
and 90%
I pointed
of the
that out.
time It never got past
Fleet
the
Command
planning
was
stage.
very understanding. They said we could take
Could've
2
told
ships
them
if we
that.
wanted. How generous of them. I thought so too. Ven zoomed in on the colony, highlighted a structure. This is the primary supply depot, located
Control
here,
to Zelfa South.
underground,
Target acquired.
shielded,
Requesting EDAC extraction.
defended by
Hostiles
approximately
closing over.
4,000 Vrex troops.
Primary strategic obstacle
Parker spoke for the
16
first
days.
time. His voice was quiet, measured. Ma'am,
Target
that's not a
confirmed.
raid.
Proceed to Sector
That's
7.
a death sentence
Copy
with
that.
extra
Moving now.
steps.
Toss ascended. We're
Yes?
sick.
She pulled up another view. Different angle. Unless... The room leaned forward. Unless what, ma'am? Harper asked. Ven highlighted a different structure. Smaller. She above ground. This is a civilian detention facility.
Pretty, in a
The
way.
Vreks are holding approximately 5,000 Confederation civilians here. Hostages, basically, ensuring the colony doesn't resist.
Some of
I saw it
was
then.
Ours.
Saw the plan assembling in real time across every human face in the
Most
room.
of it was theirs.
The shift from "this is impossible" to "this is stupid" to "this might work if we're willing to die trying." Ma'am? Chen's voice. Excited. Terrified.
I filed them.
Both.
You marked it low
Are you
priority.
suggesting... I'm suggesting we can't hit the supply depot,
Humans have a
but we can hit the
37%
detention
mission
facility.
abort rate, sir.
Get those civilians out. Force the Vreks to choose between maintaining their logistics hub and preventing a mass
Silence, I
escape.
could hear the environmental
They'll
systems
choose
like-
logistics, Rodriguez
The
said.
observation deck
Yes,
is basically a
they will.
glorified closet with a
Which
view.
means the civilians get to escape. Which means we've reduced their hostage leverage to 0. Which means the colony can resist. Ven
And the life
smiled.
support had been glitching
Which means
for
the
a week.
Vreks supply lines get significantly more expensive to maintain. Harper was
Control, this
nodding,
is Echo 1.
working through the
Requesting
logistics.
Copy. Scott
We
by
need to
Vreks
move
structure.
fast. Get in, get the civilians,
countdown, I
get
couldn't
out before
stop.
the Vreks can reorganize. 40 minutes, that's the window. Ma'am,
It might be
evacuating
fence.
5,000 people
Their
in
plan made
40
no
minutes
mathematical sense.
is impossible with Confederation evacuation protocols.
Stay sharp. The enemy is
Good
closer
thing
than you
we're not
think.
using Confederation
Move as one,
evacuation
no mistakes.
protocols. She pulled up a new
There's no
schematic,
gap large
showed
enough
it to
for
the
an
room.
assault craft.
I looked at it, felt my eye stalk start twitching.
The
Ma'am,
only
I
vulnerable
heard myself
point is the
say,
primary
that's a
reactor
cargo
intake,
hauler.
and that's
Good eyes,
inside the
observer.
shield perimeter.
It's 3 cargo haulers, requisitioned from the commercial fleet, that each one can hold about 2,000 people, if we
What I
strip the
didn't
cargo
read
sections
in your
and ignore
file,
every safety
observer.
regulation in the book. That's against regulations. Dangerous. Likely to result in casualties from overcrowding alone. Yeah, I know. She looked at me. You want to file an objection? I should have. Should have cited the regulations she was about to violate. Should have explained why this plan would fail every safety assessment.
They used a debris
Should have done
cluster,
my
sir.
job. No, ma'am. Good. Because we're doing it anyway. The planning session lasted 4 hours. I watched humans work. Really
Let the
work.
dreadnoughts tractor
They
beams
didn't
pull
argue.
them in with the salvage
Not the
sweep.
way Kareen argued,
That's
with careful logical progressions and citation of doctrine.
yes, sir.
They threw
Margin
ideas,
for error on that
interrupted
maneuver
each other,
is 0,
built
sir.
on half-finished
Observer Kale.
thoughts. Let bad ideas die quickly, and good ideas mutate into better ones. Once
We
it
have a
looked like
situation.
chaos.
The threat
It was chaos.
Nate Wagner.
But there was a structure underneath it, a rhythm. They trusted each other's expertise.
It's time.
Trusted each other to say, that's stupid,
3 months,
without it being
2
an
weeks,
insult.
4 days.
Trusted
And in
each
that
other to
time-
keep building even when the plan looked impossible.
How many missions have you
Okay.
observed them undertake?
Ven stood at the
47.
display, 4 hours in, looking at a plan that had evolved
How
through
many did
6
your
major
projections say they'd
revisions.
survive?
Let's run the
I still
timeline
stopped
one more
twitching.
time. Harper, you're up. Harper stood, pulled up her section. 0 hour minus 30
Outside, the
minutes.
debris field
We
kept
drop out of
spinning.
FTL at the system edge. Cold running, minimal emissions. Coast toward the colony on ballistic trajectory. Chen took over. Minus 15 minutes.
Observer
Cargo
KL.
haulers separate.
And
Take
his
up
voice
holding
had gone
positions
very
above the
soft.
detention facility. We, and
want
by
you to
we I mean the
transfer
assault
all
team,
your logs on
drop
this
in
unit
fast.
to my
A stealth
personal
insertion
archive.
through the main ventilation system.
Every time
Minus
you thought
10
they were
minutes.
going to die,
Rodriguez,
they didn't.
We're
Sir,
inside,
that's an
moving to
order.
the cell blocks.
Whatever
Harper's
they're
on
doing in that
security
dreadnought,
systems. I'm on door
real-time
control.
updates.
Chen's on perimeter charges in case we need to make our own
Because if
exits.
they succeed,
Parker's
the
turn.
Admiralty is going
Minus
to want
5
to know
minutes.
how.
Facility is breached. Civilians are moving to evacuation points. I'm on Overwatch. Anyone tries to stop the evac gets stopped first. Ven finished it. 0 hour. Cargo haulers drop. Load civilians.
Civilized species
We
use
hold the
clear,
facility until
structured,
everyone's
tactical
aboard.
networks.
Then we run like hell and hope the Vreks are
You can
too busy
listen to a
deciding what to
Kareen
do to
strike
shoot us before
and
we
know
jump.
Exactly who's doing
She
what,
looked around the
when,
room.
and why.
Questions? Concerns? Last words? Yeah. Harper raised her hand. If this works, do we get hazard pay? If this works, Harper, we get to be alive. I'm told that's its own reward.
I pulled up.
I'm
the
told a
audio
lot of
feed
things,
from
ma'am.
The strike team.
Not all of them turn out to be true. Laughter. Nervous.
Got eyes on the
real.
reactor coolant junction.
Ven
Looks
shut
like
down the
Christmas
display.
threw up in here.
Wheels up in 6 hours. Get some rest. Check your gear.
All one
Write
votes
letters
for
home if you're the
status.
letter writing type.
Hostiles in sectors
She
B.
paused. And remember, we're not trying to win a battle. We're trying to get 5,000 people out alive. That's the mission. Everything else is optional. The room cleared. I hovered there, watching Ven stare at the blank display
My heart trying to
and tried to
escape through
figure
my
out what I was supposed to feel. Observer.
You want me
Her
to
voice
check on that?
quiet. You're still here. Yes, ma'am. You have
Watched the
concerns.
biosigns on the split
I have several thousand concerns, ma'am. Most of them start with, "This is
Stay with me.
insane," and
Keep
end
fighting.
with,
Vitals are weak.
"We're
We
all
need to
going to
move."
die."
It hurts so much.
Accurate.
No, hold on.
She turned, looked at me, "But you're still here." "Yes." "See, ma'am? Why?" I thought about it. About the dreadnought. About the 47 missions I'd watched from
Just looked at
safety.
schematics and
About the
remembered
7% accuracy rate and the promotion that was actually a field assignment to a unit that treated death like a scheduling conflict. Because I need to understand, ma'am. Understand what? How you keep not dying. She smiled. Smaller this time.
I need it
Tired.
sealed in 90
Kyle,
seconds.
you want the
Copy
real
that.
answer? Yes, ma'am. We don't know either. We just keep trying things until something works. She picked up her coffee cup, found it empty,
One shot at this,
set it down.
So let's not fuck it
You
up
should
with
get some rest.
improvisation.
Ma'am.
Tomorrow's going to be interesting. Ma'am,
This entire
one more question.
operation is improvisation.
Shoot.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you request
Team
me?
split.
Specifically, Threx said you asked for me by name.
This won't be
Ven was
forgotten.
quiet for a moment, thinking. Because
And
you tried to save us,
reconcile what I
Kale,
was seeing
up there on the
with what
Accord.
I knew about
When we were
human
stealing
military
that
doctrine.
dreadnought, you opened a channel, tried to get Threx to send support. You didn't have to do that. Wasn't your job. I thought you were going to die, ma'am. We know. That's why we wanted you. She walked to the door,
They think they've broken us.
stopped.
With war
The
speed
Confluence
fighting,
thinks
fight until
war
the
is
end.
math.
No retreat.
Thinks you can calculate acceptable
Send 5
losses
people
and make
into a
rational
dreadnought,
decisions.
nothing but cutting
And maybe
tools
for
and
them,
bad
that
attitudes.
works. But
My
humans,
analysis algorithm
we don't
flagged
do
something.
math. We do hope. And sometimes hope is stupid and
I pulled up the
irrational
tactical
and gets
display.
people killed.
And felt my
She looked
speaking
back at me.
stock go dry.
But sometimes hope is the only reason anyone survives at all. The cargo hauler smelled like fear and recycled air.
Humans had maybe 3
I floated
minutes
near the
before they were
bulkhead,
surrounded.
watching the assault team gear up, trying not to calculate the probability of survival because every time I did, the number got smaller. 6 hours until drop.
We have a
The Ven
situation.
had told everyone to rest. Nobody was resting. Harper sat cross-legged on the
Report.
deck, triple-checking
Rex and
security
Karen,
override
true,
codes
true.
on a tablet that looked older than she was. Chen methodically loaded explosive charges into a pack that should have required protective handling, but apparently
Current
didn't if you were
projections
Chen.
show- I know what they show.
Rodriguez
observer.
muttered to herself, running diagnostic checks on door control
watching
systems
the same
she'd never seen before.
I should have shut up.
Parker cleaned his rifle. That was the part that made my
Should've just
algorithms
watched and
scream.
logged and let
The rifle was
professionals
already
handle it.
clean, spotless, but Parker kept cleaning
Sir,
it
we can
anyway,
scramble a support
moving through the
wing.
motions with the kind of focus that suggested he wasn't thinking about the rifle at all.
Some of the Vrex forces
Ven
away
sat
from-
alone near the airlock,
Negative.
staring at nothing, running her own calculations. I floated
But,
closer,
sir,
carefully.
Observer Kale.
Ma'am? She didn't look up. Kyle, you
Threat's
can't
voice
sleep
was
either?
sharp.
Kareen, don't sleep like humans, ma'am. We have a rest cycle, but
Readings confirm it.
but
The
you're
source
too
is near.
wired to
We
rest.
must proceed now
Yeah,
before it
I get that.
dissipates. Initiate
She
the
gestured to the
sequence.
space next to her.
Are we clear?
Sit, hover,
My eyes started
whatever.
to twitch so hard I thought
I
it might
settled.
tear.
We sat there in silence, listening to
sir.
the ambient noise of the ship. The recyclers humming, the hull creaking,
I watched
the sound
thermal
of Chen
signatures
dropping
converge.
something heavy, followed by creative swearing. Ma'am, can I ask you
First
something?
time I saw a human
You can
refuse
ask.
to die.
I might not answer.
It was during the Hadrian
How many of these have you
Station
done?
siege.
Impossible missions or suicide runs? Both, ma'am. She thought about it. Really thought. 17 impossible missions, 9 suicide runs, 3 that were both.
Human security
And you're
team
still
responded.
alive. So far. That's not statistically probable. No,
Hold still.
it's not.
Rerouting the power.
She finally looked at me.
Hurry.
Almost there.
You want to know the
Connecting
secret,
auxiliary.
Kyle?
Try now.
You want to
I'd
know
watched
how we
the
keep
whole
not
thing
dying?
from the Accord.
Yes, ma'am.
Running tactical
We cheat.
analysis.
I blinked, all 3 eyes. Ma'am, we cheat, we break rules, we ignore doctrine, we do things that shouldn't work
Not
because
because they're
everyone's
better or-
calculated that they won't work, which means nobody's prepared for them to work. She
Not
leaned back
because they
against the
had
bulkhead.
superior position.
The Vrex fight like they're playing chess. Perfect
They
strategy,
lasted 40
optimal
minutes
moves.
because they
They
refused to
calculate the
accept that
best
they'd
possible
lost.
decision and execute it flawlessly. That's efficient, ma'am. It's predictable. You know what you can't predict, Kale?
Totally
Someone who
unarmored.
looks at the
Use
chessboard
of
and
Rex
decides to
Trooper's own
flip the
grenade
table.
against him. by
That's not
pulling
winning,
it
ma'am.
free and throwing it.
No. But it's not losing
Back in
either.
the 2-second
And sometimes
window before
not
detonation.
losing is enough. 4 hours to drop.
Watched her
The
drag a
briefing was
wounded
short.
squad mate behind
Ven
cover
didn't
while
believe
taking
in long
fire from
briefings.
3 directions.
As said, they just gave people more
Watched her
time to think
jury
about
rig a
dying.
breach seal using
All
a
right,
dead Vrex
last
armor
check.
plating
Harper,
and a cutting
security
torch.
systems? Override codes
Perimeter
loaded.
breach confirmed.
Backdoor
Hostiles
exploits
inbound.
ready.
Deploying
I can get us into their
countermeasures.
network,
Shields
but
with
I
fire
can't
on
keep us invisible.
Took 11
Once I
Vrex
start opening
with her.
doors, they'll know we're there. How long until they respond? 3 minutes. Maybe 4 if they're having a bad day. Chen, demolitions? Perimeter charges set for remote detonation.
Marked anomalous
If we need to make a new exit,
because that's
I
what
can
you
make a
do
new
when the
exit.
data doesn't match
Several
the
new
model.
exits. Possibly
You
too
call
many
it
exits.
anomalous.
Try to keep the building standing, Chen. No promises, ma'am. Rodriguez? Door controls? I can open any door in the facility. Problem is, I can only do it from inside the security hub. Which
Working
means
on it,
I'm
ma'am.
stationary.
Range 132's
Which
max
means
156.
if they find me, they won't. Parker's got overwatch on your position. Parker nodded once. Kyle. Ven looked at me. You're on civilian management. Once we start the
Chen, Parker
evacuation,
status.
your job is to
Coolant
keep
valve
them
sealed,
moving.
ma'am, but we've got
Calm.
company.
Organized. Think you can do that? Ma'am, I'm an observer. I observe. I don't... You speak 17 languages. You've got a Korean hoverpad, which means you can move above the crowd. And you've got a voice
Our demolition
synthesizer
supplies
that makes
are-
you sound
Then use
calm
theirs.
even when you're terrified.
Silence on the comm.
That makes you perfect for this.
Then
Man,
Chen's voice, and
that's
I
an order,
swear I could
observer.
hear the smile.
You're in the field now. Time to get your manipulators dirty.
Copy that, ma'am.
I wanted to
Pulled up
object.
Chen's helmet feed
Wanted
just
to
in time
cite
watch him fire
regulations.
Vrex plasma.
Wanted to explain that I was supposed to watch humans do impossible things, not participate in them. But I looked around the cargo hauler, at the assault team, at the people who'd accepted me into their insanity. Yes,
How's that
ma'am.
door coming?
Good.
5 seconds.
Because if this goes wrong, we're going to need all the help we can get.
Copy that.
1 hour to
the
drop.
source.
I checked my gear for the 5th time. Communications package, translation
Probability of
software,
survival drop.
emergency beacon. Supplies that would be useless if everything went according to plan and inadequate if it didn't. The cargo hauler shuddered. Course correction.
Ben's team poured through.
Attention all hands. The pilot's voice over the comm sounded young,
Chen triggered the
terrified,
charges.
professional. Entering the Kalos system. Beginning ballistic approach.
Calibration
All teams to
complete.
ready
Target
positions.
locked. Copy
The
that.
assault
Power
team
full.
moved.
Perimeter secure.
No rush,
Fire on my
no
mark.
panic. Just
And I
efficient
still didn't
motion born
understand
from
the
practice.
relationship with
I
acceptable
watched Ven
losses.
check her sidearm. Watched Harper sync her tablet to the ship's systems. Watched Chen smile at something only he found funny. Watched Parker close his eyes for exactly 5 seconds, lips moving in what might have been prayer or might have been a countdown. Nah, Kyle. Ven's voice. You good? No? I wasn't good. I was terrified. Every threat assessment algorithm I had was screaming. My eye stalk was twitching so hard it hurt. Yes, ma'am. Liar. She smiled. But I appreciate the effort. Here. She handed me something. Small, metal.
Command.
A
Sector
human
2 clear.
military
Moving to 3.
insignia.
Copy that, lead.
What is
On
this,
your
ma'am?
6. Eyes sharp.
Observer
Anomalies
badge.
ahead.
Technically, you're supposed to earn it through a formal evaluation process. But I'm field promoting you. Figured if you're gonna die with us, you should die official. I looked at the badge, at the symbol etched into the metal. An eye, stylized, watching. Ma'am, I don't... Just take it, Kale, and try not to die. We've got paperwork to file after this, and I'd rather not add casualty reports
They're
to the stack.
evacuating that sector.
30 minutes to drop. The colony grew in the viewport. Beautiful. Green and blue and covered in lights that meant people lived there. 5,000 of them in the detention facility. Hostages, leverage, human shields in a war they didn't start. All teams,
Which means
final
they're not
approach.
thinking tactically.
Going dark in 60 seconds. The lights cut. The hauler went silent. No engines, no emissions. Just mass and velocity and hope. Ven's voice on the team channel. Quiet. Focused. Remember, we're not here to fight. We're here to get people out. If someone shoots at you,
The
take cover.
Dreadnought's power signature
If you get a
was
shot
spiking.
back, take it. But the mission is evacuation. Everything else is noise. Copy that, ma'am? Copy. Understood. Parker said nothing. Never did before a mission. Ven said it was his ritual. Kyle, you copy? Yes, ma'am. Good. See you on the other side. 15 minutes. The detention
What did they
facility
do?
grew in the tactical
I
display.
traced the power fluctuations
Large
back.
or fortified, surrounded by
Followed the
Vrex
cascade
patrols,
through the Dreadnought
exactly
systems.
4,000 troops according to intelligence. Intelligence was always wrong, usually low. Insertion point approaching. Team, prepare for drop. I checked my hoverpad's
Move
charge.
to the coolant system.
Full. Good for 6 hours of continuous operation. Hoped I wouldn't need 6 hours. Hoped I'd need 0 hours because this whole thing would be called off and we'd abort and go home.
Sir.
And I could file a report about a mission that didn't happen. 30 seconds.
I think they just
The
triggered a
team lined
reactor
up at the
meltdown.
airlock. Ven first, always first. Then Harper, Chen, Rodriguez, Parker, then me. 10 seconds. My eye stalk stopped twitching.
time has
Started
come.
something else.
We must
Focusing.
go to the city.
5. The airlock light went red.
Watch their
4.
support ships swarm
Ven
in,
looked back,
trying to
made eye
extract
contact,
as many troops as
nodded
possible.
once. 3.
Watch
I nodded
Captain
back.
Ven's team move
2.
deeper into the ship.
The airlock opened. 1. We dropped. Free fall
Observer
through alien
human strike
atmosphere
team.
is
Need to
exactly
extract.
as terrifying
Repeat,
as
need
it
to-
sounds.
Negative.
The detention facility rushed up at us, all hard angles and hostile architecture, and I had exactly 3 seconds to regret every decision that led to
Then
this
why?
moment before
Because
my
we didn't
hoverpad
come
caught
here to
me
blow up
and
a
I was
dreadnought,
gliding toward the
observer.
ventilation shaft that Harper
Came
had
here to steal
identified
one.
as our entry
My
point.
algorithm froze.
Ven hit the roof first, silent,
Every
perfect.
predictive model, every tactical
Moved to the
assessment,
shaft
every
and
probability
started
matrix.
cutting. The team landed around her, established
You
perimeter,
can't be serious.
covered
Harper,
approaches.
how's that override?
I came in last,
Ma'am,
awkward,
I'm in the
nearly
navigation
clipped the
system,
roof
but the
edge.
AI is throwing up
Chen
some really
caught me,
hostile firewalls.
steadied my
Burn
hoverpad.
it.
Easy, observer. You're doing
Rodriguez, I
great.
need reactor stabilization
doing terribly.
protocols, the Vrex ones.
Yeah, but terribly for a first-timer is great. Come on.
Objective sighted.
The ventilation
On my mark.
shaft was
Copy
open.
that. Fan out,
Dark.
advance. Yes, sir.
Led down into the facility's guts.
Target is
Ven
200
went
meters
first.
ahead.
We
Move out.
followed.
Roger that.
The
On your lead.
facility's interior was worse than the schematics suggested. Narrow corridors, low ceilings designed for Vrex physiology. Lighting that flickered,
Anomaly confirmed.
air that
Stronger
smelled
ahead.
like
Move up.
disinfectant and
Stay
despair.
Sharp, everyone.
We moved through it like smoke.
Power
Ven
fluctuations
leading.
started to stabilize.
Parker watching rear. The rest of us in between, trying not to make noise,
Observer. Threx's
trying not to
voice
think
had
about
gone
the
strange.
4,000 Vrex troops somewhere in this building. Harper's voice on the comm. Whisper quiet. Approaching security hub. Rodriguez, you're up.
Captain Ven, this is Commander
Rodriguez
Vrex,
moved
Harmonious
forward,
Accord.
Copy,
pulled out her
Vrex. I'm
interface
seeing
kit,
data.
connected to the
Command, target
security
zone is
panel.
is active. Flying
15
route. Uploading new
seconds.
coordinates
The
now. Stand
longest
by.
15
Confirmed.
seconds of
New
my life.
extraction point.
I'm
Threat
in.
levels right. Lock onto the
Uploading
signal.
access codes. Harper,
Calibrating now
I need.
boosters. Had acquired.
Already
Standing by
sending.
for orders.
You should
Our
have full
intentions
building
are
control in
commandeer
3,
this vessel
2.
and bring it back
Got
to
it. Okay.
conference lines.
I can see the cell blocks. 5,000
Assuming you
civilians.
don't die in the
And
next
distributed
6
across
minutes.
4 sectors.
Captain.
Ma'am, we've got a problem.
That
Ven
ship is
stopped.
worth more
Hand
than
up.
the last 3 months
Everyone
of this
froze.
campaign combined.
Report. They're locked down.
If you can genuinely
Individual
deliver
cell
it,
containment.
then you'll
We
owe
can't
us a
just
favor.
open all the doors at once. The system's designed
The
to
enemy
prevent
fleet
mass
is
escapes.
approaching. We must
Can you
act
override
now.
it?
Prepare
Yes.
all defenses.
But it'll take time.
Hostiles
3 minutes
detected.
per sector.
Locking
Maybe
on.
4.
Engage target
That's
now.
12
Fire.
minutes minimum. Yes, ma'am.
We need every ship
Ven
you've
was
got
quiet
to
for
stop
exactly
shooting at
2
this
seconds.
dreadnought in about
Do it.
4 minutes.
Chen, Parker, establish defensive positions. Harper, run interference on their security feeds. Make us invisible
It's in a
as
really
long as
bad
possible.
day. Threx
Kyle,
was quiet
you're with me.
for exactly 2
Ma'am?
seconds.
We're going to meet our refugees. Cell Block Alpha was exactly as depressing as I expected. Rows of containment units, each one holding 5 to 10 people. Different species, different ages. And
looked
all
at
of
the
them
tactical
looking at us
display.
with the kind of hope that hurt to see. Ven activated the translation matrix.
Status report.
Her
Enemy
voice
fleet is
echoed
closing.
through the block.
Waiting for slots. They're
Attention.
flanking. Divert power.
We are
Fire at
Confederation
will.
military. We are here to evacuate you. When your cell doors open, follow the marked corridors to the evacuation points. Stay calm, stay together. We have limited time. A voice
Buried
from one of the
in heart
cells.
of a ship
Human,
that should have killed
female,
them a dozen
shaking.
times over.
Who are you? Captain Sarah Ven, Confederation Marines. And we're getting you out of here. How many of you are there?
They got the reactor
Ven
stable
looked at me,
with 90 seconds
back at the
to
cell.
spare.
Enough. It was a lie. We both knew it. The cell doors started opening. The first civilians moved like they didn't believe it was
Watched it
real.
break from the Vrex
Slow,
formation. Sluggish
cautious,
and wounded, but
looking
moving.
for the trap. I floated above them,
Watched the Vrex
using
fleet
my translation
realize what was
matrix to
happening.
repeat Ven's instructions in 17 languages. Watching them begin to understand that this was actually happening.
Negative.
They started moving faster.
Welcome to the
Rodriguez,
future. I've been waiting
Ben's
for you.
voice on the
this
comm.
This tech will
Status?
change everything. Let's
Block
get
Alpha
started.
complete. Moving to Block Bravo.
All conflict
ETA
ships
3 minutes.
form defensive screen
Copy.
around bearing
Harper,
273.
security status? We're still invisible,
gets through.
but Kale's right.
Sir.
Their response time is better than expected. I give us maybe
That's
6
a
more
Vrex.
minutes before they figure out
That's
what's
a
happening.
captured Vrex dreadnought
Then we work
with a
faster.
human prize crew.
Chen, how are those charges looking? Ready to go, ma'am. Just say the word and I'll make us a new exit. Stand by.
Are we
More
clear?
civilians pouring into the
Silence.
corridors now. The flow increasing. I guided them,
Then
kept
the
them
conference
moving,
fleet moved.
tried to ignore the fear in their eyes, the questions I couldn't answer, the
47
children who were
ships
too young to
forming a
understand
wall
what was
between the
happening.
stolen dreadnought
My
and the
hoverpad's
furious
battery
Vrex
ticked
armada.
down. 5 hours
I
remaining.
pulled up Ven's
Saw
bioscience.
Block Bravo doors opening. The flow doubled. 1,000 people moving through corridors
rate still
designed for half
elevated.
that. Crowded, pushing, starting to panic.
Her voice
Everyone
came
stay
through.
calm.
Calm.
My
and
voice
controlled.
through the translator. Keep moving. Follow the markers. We have transport
Threat level at
waiting.
47, analyzing
A
spread.
child.
Containment protocols
Small.
initiated. Monitor
Some
for
species I
escalation.
didn't recognize, lost in the crowd. I dropped down, scooped them up with my manipulators. They screamed. It's okay. I've got you. Where's your parent? The child pointed.
We're gonna
I
need a
flew,
full overhaul
found an
when we get
adult,
home.
reunited
Rodriguez,
them,
weapons?
looked up, saw
Online.
Ven watching me. She nodded. I nodded back. Ma'am? Harper's voice, urgent. We've got a problem. Talk to me. Vrex security just went to full alert. Someone triggered a sensor I couldn't spoof. They know we're here. How long? 2 minutes, maybe less. Ven didn't hesitate.
I filed my report. at
Rodriguez,
300 station.
open everything. Every cell, every door, right now. Ma'am, that's 2,000 people we haven't prepped. Do it anyway. Chen, detonate charges on Corridor 7. Make us an exit. Ma'am, that's going to bring the ceiling down.
The readings are
That's the
critical.
idea.
We must act now.
Parker,
Prepare
fall
the
back to my
systems.
position.
Time is against us.
Harper, how long can you keep their comms jammed? 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Make it a minute. Kyle, I need you to get these people moving. Fast. Forget organized. Forget calm. Just get them to the evacuation
My
points.
quarters were
I
small.
looked at the mass of civilians. 3,000 now, maybe more. All of them looking to me. To me. A Korean observer who was supposed to watch from safety.
Surrounded
My
by
eye
air
stalk
crews and
twitched.
integration
I activated
specialists.
every translation matrix I had. Run! They ran.
More than 3
3,000
months of
people
war.
moving through corridors at speed. And it was chaos, and it was beautiful,
fortress
and it
is
was
just ahead.
absolutely going to
Stay
get
sharp.
people killed.
Copy that. Weapons hot.
But it was also
Move
the
out.
only chance they had. I flew above them,
Report to my office at
guiding,
700.
redirecting, pulling people out of crush points before they got trampled. Behind
Log
us,
update
explosions.
System status
Chen's
is nominal.
charges,
All
the
files
facility
secured.
shaking.
Proceeding to phase
Ma'am, we've got Vrex forces converging on our position. Parker, give them something to think about. Gunfire,
Outside,
precise,
the
measured.
dreadnought hung in space.
Parker's rifle
And
singing
somewhere
its
inside
single-note song. They're falling back, but we've got more coming. How many more? All of them, ma'am. Ven's voice stayed calm.
Planning the
It
next
shouldn't have been
impossible
calm.
thing.
Nothing about this situation warranted calm. Then we make sure we're gone before they get here. Kale, status on the evac points? I checked. The cargo haulers were landing.
Since I can't actually
Ramps
do
down.
that,
Loading.
tried to understand
Well,
what I
hauler
just
1 is at
witnessed.
60% capacity.
This living
Hauler 2
armor
just started
awakens with
loading.
the Kenyon's
Hauler
pulse.
3 is an explosion.
A species
Different
that
from Chen's
weaponized
charges.
desperation so
Bigger.
completely they'd turned it into
Hauler
doctrine.
3 just took a hit, ma'am. How bad?
A species that
It's on
didn't
fire,
win
ma'am.
because they were
Can it
stronger
fly?
or smarter or better
I watched
armed.
the pilot struggle with the controls. Watched the hauler list to one side. No, ma'am? Silence on the comm. The kind of silence that meant someone was doing math they didn't like. Redistribute the load. Hauler 1 and
Vrex's
2
office
take
smelled
everyone.
like recirculated
Pack
air
them
and
in.
old decisions.
Ignore capacity limits. Ma'am, that's
I hovered in
an
the
order.
doorway.
Do it.
Manipulators
I
folded
did
in
it.
what I hoped looked like
Watched
professional
civilians
composure.
cram into cargo haulers designed for 1,000,
Target in sight,
now holding
waiting orders.
1,500,
Lines are moving
now
from the
2,000.
Hold fire.
Physics
Let it
and
get
safety
closer.
regulations screaming in protest. Ma'am,
Didn't look up.
Rodriguez's voice. I'm cut off. Vrex between me and the evac points. Parker, can you? Negative. They've got her position surrounded. Ven was quiet for exactly 1 second. Rodriguez, find somewhere defensible. Lock it down. We'll come back for you.
Your report
Ma'am?
was adequate.
That's not a suggestion. We're not leaving you. But we need to get these civilians out first. Understood? Understood, ma'am.
Whatever it is your species
The comm
does.
went dead.
I settled
4,000
on the visitor
civilians
bag.
loaded. 500 still coming. The haulers were over capacity. Way over. So far over that the pilots were arguing about whether they could even lift off. They'll lift, Ven said on the command channel, or they'll die trying. Either way, we're out of time. Kyle, final head count. I checked, rechecked.
Observer.
4,700 civilians loaded. 200 still in the facility.
human
50
operations
between the
have you logged
facility and
since
the
you took this
evacuation
posting?
points. Chen,
200
where are you? Covering the stragglers, ma'am.
47, sir.
Got
How
maybe
many
20
went
more
according to
coming
your
through.
projections?
Get them on the
Well,
haulers,
not worse.
then get yourself on. That's an order.
18, sir.
Copy.
18.
Harper, already on hauler one, ma'am. Where are you? Making sure everyone gets out.
Made a note I
Ma'am,
couldn't read.
that's the mission, Harper. Everyone gets out. I watched Ven's
That's a
position on the
7%
tactical display.
accuracy rate.
Still inside the facility, still between the civilians and the Rex forces, still alone. Observer Kyle, her voice, private channel. I need you to do something for me.
Promote them.
Ma'am,
I
I need you to get on hauler 2, right now.
Sir,
Ma'am,
you're being
That's an
reassigned,
order.
observer.
You're the only one who can
Understood.
explain what happened here. The only one who
Now
can tell the
primary
confluence
tactical
why we
liaison
did what
to
we
Captain
did.
Ven's unit.
She was moving, running. I could hear it in her breathing. Someone needs to survive to file the report. Ma'am, we can still... No,
And provide
we
real-time
can't.
analysis to fleet
The
command.
numbers don't work.
The wobble
You
turned
know
into a
it.
shake.
I know it. Gunfire in the background. But 5,000 people are about to escape. That's a win. That's the mission.
Look,
So you're going to get on that hauler, and you're going to make sure it means something.
let's move.
I looked at the
That's
hauler,
literally in the job title.
at the ramp starting to
And now
close.
you'll observe from
Looked at the
significantly
tactical
closer
display,
range.
at Ven's position, at the Vrex forces closing in. Did the math. Made a choice. No, ma'am. Kyle,
Felt it warm.
with
against
respect,
my
ma'am,
manipulator.
I'm not leaving. I'm the observer. I observe, and I need to see how this ends. Kyle, you stubborn... I learned from the best, ma'am. I flew away from the hauler, back toward the facility, toward Ven.
Why would she?
Found her in Corridor 12,
Because according to
pinned
her
down by
after-action
Vrex fire,
report-
covering the last group of civilians as they ran. Dropped down beside her. She looked at me, angry, relieved.
Anomaly is growing. We
Both.
must act now.
I gave you an order.
The signature is
I ignored it.
Unstable. What's
Seems
the
to be
risk?
going around.
Catastrophic.
She actually laughed. Okay, you're here. Make yourself useful. See that support beam? I looked. Saw it. Yes, ma'am. When I say go, I need you to pull it
Looked
down.
out at the dreadnought.
Block the corridor.
Still surrounded by
Ma'am,
scaffolding and
I'm not
repair
strong
drones.
enough to... You've got a hover pad. Use
You
it,
think I don't know
accelerate
what
into
you
it,
did, KL?
let physics do the work. I stared at her. That's insane.
Listen closely. The
Yeah.
situation is dire.
Now you're getting
We
it.
must
On
act
3,
now before
1.
it's too late.
I lined
Follow
up.
my
2.
tried to get me to commit
Engage the hover
resources to
pad's
a human
maximum thrust.
suicide run. Sir,
3.
You broke
I hit the support
protocol.
beam at full speed. It held. It held. It collapsed. The corridor filled with debris. Cut off the Vrex
Looked at
advance.
me with all four
Fought us maybe
eyes.
30 seconds. Move. We moved. Rodriguez was holed up in the security hub, door sealed, keeping the Vrex locked out through sheer stubbornness and creative system hacking. Ven and I reached her position with 15 seconds to spare.
One
Rodriguez,
for actions
open up.
above and beyond the,
The
call
door
of
cracked.
duty in the
We
face
pushed
of
through.
overwhelming odds.
Rodriguez looked
That
rough.
one?
Blood on her uniform, breathing hard. Ma'am, you came back. Told you we would. Can you walk?
Unauthorized
Can I
tactical
fly?
deviation.
Not
Failure
recommended.
To follow established
Then I can
doctrine.
walk.
Willful
Ven
disregard.
pulled up the tactical display. The facility was surrounded. The evac points were empty. The haulers were
Humans
lifting off.
called it a career.
I watched them rise. Overloaded, struggling, but rising.
I called it a
4,700
nervous
civilians
breakdown with
escaping.
metals.
Harper, Ven's voice on the comm.
The last hour
clear?
I spent trying to figure
Affirmative,
out
ma'am.
what to say. when
Both
I met
haulers
her.
are away. Vrex are scrambling fighters,
Defiant
but
looked
we've
like
got a
someone
jump
had taken
window
a
in 90
Confluence
seconds.
carrier design
Take
and
it.
beaten it
Don't
with a
wait
wrench
for us. Ma'am,
until it
that's
did
an order,
what
Harper.
They wanted.
Get those people home. Silence. Then, aye, ma'am. Good luck.
Angular where
The
it should have been
cut.
smooth.
We stood there in the security hub, listening to the Vrex
Armored
forces
where it
surround
should have
us,
been elegant.
and I tried to figure out what I was supposed to feel. Accomplished? We'd succeeded. The civilians were safe. Terrified? We were trapped. Both?
I pressed my secondary
Ma'am,
manipulator against
Rodriguez's
the glass,
voice.
watching the debris
Quiet.
field spin past.
What's the plan? Ven pulled out her sidearm, checked the charge. The plan is, we make them work for it. She
Lost
looked at
count
me.
7.
Kyle, last chance. There's an emergency beacon in the corner. You activate it, there's a chance the confluence picks you up before the Vrex get here. Small chance.
Drives my clutch
But a
mates
chance.
insane.
I looked at the beacon, looked at Ven, at Rodriguez, at the
Observer
two
KO.
humans who'd made this insane
Commander.
plan work. No, ma'am. Why not? Because I'm the observer, and I need to see how this ends. Ven smiled. You're learning.
Explain
The
why a
Vrex
human
breached
strike
the
team
door
is
4
currently
minutes later.
inside of Rex
We were
Dreadnought
ready.
that we classify
Ven had
as
set up a
two-
defensive position using security consoles and furniture. Rodriguez had rigged the door controls to fail catastrophically when they forced it.
Study the dreadnought
I'd
for 6
positioned myself on a hoverpad near the ceiling with a makeshift
readings are
weapon
spiking.
I'd
We
assembled
must act
from
now.
parts I
Understood,
couldn't
sir. Rerouting
identify.
power now. Monitor
It was
closely.
the
Report
worst
any
defensive
fluctuations.
position
Every
I'd ever
tactical
analyzed.
assessment I'd run
It was
said
also
they
the
were
only
planning
one we
something
had.
catastrophically
The door blew.
stupid.
Vrex poured in. We fought. I'd never fought before. Observers don't fight. We observe,
Catastrophically
we
stupid,
analyze,
90%
we
of the
calculate,
time it never got past
but I
the
fought
planning
anyway.
Stage.
Used the hoverpad to strafe.
Could have told him that.
Used the makeshift weapon to fire. Used everything I'd learned from watching humans for 3 months. Used hope.
I stuck to
The
a
thing
split.
about hope is, it doesn't care about the math.
Control
The math
yourself
said we were
outside.
dead.
Target acquired.
3
Requesting
against
EDX
40.
extraction.
No support,
Hostiles closing
no
over.
extraction, no chance.
Primary strategic
But we kept
obstacle for
fighting anyway.
16 days.
Ven moved like violence made elegant. Every shot precise.
Target confirmed.
Every
Proceed to
movement
sector 7.
efficient.
Copy that.
Like she'd
Moving now.
trained for this her
Hostiles
entire
sent.
life. Rodriguez fought like an engineer. Methodical, using the environment, turning their own equipment against them. I fought like someone who'd spent 3 months watching humans refuse to die and decided to try it myself. We lasted 6 minutes.
Pretty.
Should have lasted 30 seconds. But we
Man,
lasted
this is
6
HNF.
minutes.
Target acquired. Grid 47.
And that was
Just
enough.
standing by some copy. Perimeter
The
secure. Offset.
explosion
Give a
came from
hostile
outside. Big.
Some of it was
Ship-mounted weapons
ours.
big. The facility shook. The Vrex forces pulled back.
But most of it
And
was
through the
theirs.
hole in the wall came the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. A Confederation destroyer. Call sign Reckless. Again. Unknown personnel in the detention
filed it.
facility.
You marked it
This
low
is Captain
priority.
Morrison, Reckless. We're here to pick up some strays. Anyone need a ride?
37%
Van
mission
laughed.
abort rate, sir.
Actually laughed. Morrison, you beautiful maniac.
assumed-
How did you...
In the
Found
silence,
out you
I
were
could
planning
hear the
something
environmental
stupid.
system cycling.
Figured you'd need backup.
The observation
Plus that
deck was
observer
basically
you've
a
got with
glorified
you.
closet with a
His
view.
emergency beacon's been pinging for 3 minutes. Thought we should check it out. I looked at my equipment. The beacon was active. I didn't activate it.
And the life
Rodriguez
support had
smiled
been
at
glitching
me.
for a week.
Figured you'd argue if we told you. You... Come on, observer.
Control,
You didn't
this is
really
Echo
think we'd
1.
leave without a
Listing
contingency
ES.
plan, did you?
Scouted by
Ven grabbed my hoverpad. Let's go.
Like a countdown.
Before
I
Morrison
couldn't
gets
stop.
bored and leaves without us. We flew. The Reckless jumped 30 seconds
My
after we
defense.
boarded.
Their
I
plan
hovered in the
made no
cargo bay,
mathematical sense.
watching Rodriguez get medical attention, watching
Stay
Ven
sharp,
debrief
enemies
with
close to the
Morrison,
bench.
trying to process
was
what
one,
had
no
just
mistakes.
happened. 5,000
There's
civilians
no gap large enough for
evacuated.
an assault craft.
One detention facility destroyed. One Vrex logistics hub
The only vulnerable
significantly
point is the
more
primary
expensive to
reactor
maintain.
intake, and that's
One impossible
inside the
mission
shield perimeter.
succeeded, and me.
Look at that 5 exits.
One Korean
So what?
observer
You know what?
who'd violated
You
every
have to
regulation in the
explain
book and somehow survived.
what I didn't read in
Kyle.
the file.
Threx's
observer.
voice on the comm. I'd been dreading this call. Sir, I just received a report that you ignored a direct order to evacuate, engaged in combat operations despite being non-combat personnel, and used an emergency beacon to call in an unauthorized extraction. Yes, sir, all accurate. You also helped evacuate 5,000 civilians that the Vrex
They
were
used a
holding
debris
hostage,
cluster, sir.
saved Captain Ven and her team, and provided tactical analysis that was instrumental in the mission's success. I said nothing. Kyle, do you understand what you've done?
Let the
I've
dreadnoughts
violated
tractor beams
approximately
pull them in with the
47
salvage
regulations,
sweep.
sir. I
That's-
have a list. You've proven that Confederation
Insane.
doctrine is wrong.
Yes, sir.
That
The margin for error
wasn't
on that
what I
maneuver
expected.
is 0, sir.
Sir,
Observer Kale.
we've been fighting this war like it's a mathematical equation. Calculating acceptable losses,
We have a situation,
weighing
Walsh.
objectives
The
against
threat is
costs,
imminent. Nate
making
Dewak now.
rational decisions. His voice went quiet. The humans have been fighting it like it's
time.
personal, like every civilian matters, like
3
losing
months,
is
2
unacceptable,
weeks, 4 days.
even when the math
And in
says
that
it's
time-
inevitable. Sir, that's not sustainable.
How many missions
You
have
can't-
observed them undertake?
Can't win wars on hope?
47.
Tell that to the 5,000 people who just escaped because
How many
5
did your
humans
projections
and
say
1
they
very
survived?
stubborn Kareen
My eyes
decided the
stopped
math was
twitching.
wrong. He paused. You're being reassigned again, Observer. Sir, You're being promoted.
Outside the
Field
briefing
liaison
kept
to all
spinning.
human combat units. Your job is to teach the Confluence how to fight like humans. How to win when the math says we should lose. Sir, I don't know how to do that.
Observer KL.
Neither do they, but they
His
do it
voice had
anyway.
gone very
Figure
soft.
it out. The com cut.
I want you
I
to
floated
transfer
there,
all
trying to
your logs
understand,
on this unit
trying to
my
accept that
personal
I'd chosen.
archive.
Not just on this mission,
Every
not
time
just
you
today.
thought they were going to die
I'd
and
chosen
they
Earth over
didn't.
my people.
Sir, I don't-
The
that's an
moment I
order.
decided the math was wrong.
Whatever they're doing
The
in that
moment I
dreadnought,
decided
I want
hope
real-time
mattered more than
updates.
probability. The moment I stopped being an observer.
Because if they succeed,
Ven found me
the
6
Admiralty
hours
is
later,
going to want
still
to know
floating in the
how.
cargo bay. Heard about your promotion. Congratulations. I don't feel promoted, ma'am. I feel confused. Yeah, that's pretty normal for human military operations. She pulled herself up to my level. Zero
civilized
G made
species
her
use
movements
clear,
strange,
structured tactical
graceful.
networks.
Kyle, you did good today.
You can listen
I
to a
violated
hearing
orders,
strike
ma'am.
team and
I
know
endangered
exactly
myself.
who's doing what,
I made
when,
irrational
and why.
decisions. You saved lives. You helped complete an impossible mission. You proved that Kareen can be just as stubborn and stupid as humans when it matters. She smiled. That's the highest compliment I can give.
I
It
pulled
doesn't
up
feel
the
like a
audio
compliment.
feed from the strike
It will.
team.
Eventually. She pushed off. Started to
Got
float
eyes
away.
on the reactor coolant
Stopped.
junction.
Kyle,
Looks like Christmas
why did you
threw up in
stay?
here.
Really? When I ordered you to leave, why did you come back? I thought about it. About 3 months of watching humans refuse to die. About a species that weaponized hope. About a choice that made no mathematical sense but felt right anyway. Because the mission was getting everyone out, ma'am. Not everyone except me.
My
Ven
heart
looked
trying
at
to
me for a
escape
long
through my
moment.
rib cage.
Then she smiled. Welcome to the team, Observer.
You want me to check on that?
The after-action report took 3 days to file. I wrote it in the observation
Watch the
deck of the
bios
Harmonious
split
Accord,
screen.
watching the Kalos system recede in the distance, trying to explain what had happened in
Keep
language the
fighting.
Confederation would
We need to
understand,
move.
trying to translate
I know.
hope into
Hold on.
doctrine, trying to explain why 5 humans and 1 Kareen had succeeded where the math said they should fail. I failed. The report was inadequate, incomplete. It
Just
captured
looked
the
at
facts
schematics and
but missed the
remembered them.
truth. But I filed it anyway, because that's what observers do. We observe, we record, we try to make sense of the incomprehensible, and sometimes we learn that the incomprehensible is the only thing that makes sense at all.
I need it sealed.
6
in
weeks
90
later,
seconds.
the Confederation
Copy that.
formally adopted new tactical guidelines, based on human combat doctrine, based on hope, based on the idea that acceptable losses should
Get
never
one shot at
include
this,
giving up.
So let's not fuck up
Threx
the
called it
improvisation.
the Venn protocols. Venn called it common sense
This
wrapped
entire
in
operation is
bureaucracy.
improvisation.
I called it proof
Yes,
that
ma'am.
sometimes
The
the
team
only rational choice is the irrational one. I still watch humans in combat, still file reports, still calculate probabilities,
And tried to
but I don't call it
reconcile
luck
what I was
anymore.
seeing
I call it
with
what it
I
is.
knew about human
A
military
species that
doctrine.
looked at the universe and decided that survival wasn't a mathematical equation. It was a choice, and they chose to survive. Every single time. Personal log. Observer Kyle.
They think
Final
they've
entry.
broken us. But
3
we'll
months
stay
ago,
fighting
I
right
thought
until
I
the
understood
end.
war. Thought it was math. Probability.
Sent 5 people into a
Acceptable
dreadnought
losses
with nothing but
calculated
cutting
against
tools
strategic
and bad
objectives.
attitudes.
I was wrong.
My analysis
War isn't
algorithm
math.
flagged something.
War is the moment when you choose to stay, even though every algorithm says you should run.
I pulled up the tactical
War
display.
is the moment when you decide
my
5,000
speaking started to
lives
go dry.
matter more than your safety. War is the moment when you stop watching from observation decks and start fighting in cargo bays.
The humans had
I
maybe
chose
3
Earth over
minutes
my
before they
people
were
the
surrounded.
day I realized the Confederation was calculating how to lose efficiently. The humans were calculating how to win impossibly. And impossibly is better
We have
than
a
efficiently.
situation.
Every single time.
Report. Wreck secure as a detective through intrusion.